Hello everyone, today we're learning about Mציעא Daf Hayomi. We're going to start about 8-9 lines down. Tanya. Moide Rab Shimon ben Elazar bekelim chadoshim shesavoson ayin shechayev la'achriz. So Rab Shimon ben Elazar in the Mishnah said that Kli and Puria, and we said that's new kelim, you don't need to be machriz. And we explained it means that even for Talmid Chacham that you give back with Tvias Eina, that's if Savosam Ayin, if he recognizes them, but if it's new kelim, he doesn't recognize. So Rab Shimon ben Elazar's moide, if he did have enough time to get to know the kelim, you have to give it back to Talmid Chacham with Tvias Eina. Ve'elu kelim chadoshim shelo Savosam Ayin. What's the type of kelim that when they knew you can't recognize? She'eino chayev la'achriz kegoin badei machtin v'tzinorius. So we're going to see in a bit what badei machtin means. Tzinorius means like these small forks made out of when you make gold. Machroize shel kardoimos, and string they put kardoimos on, that they're all the same and they don't have a big difference. Kol elu shomrei musaimitorim, all these things that we said that if it's brand new and you can't recognize it, when is the muta? Shemotze echad echad, if you found the one by itself. But if you found two of them, even though there's no simin in the chayfet itself, but there's a simin in the minyan, because 2 or 3 or 4, so therefore you have to be machris. My badi, we said before, badi, what does it mean? Shoichi. Shoichi means like a nofim of a ilon. So when we learned before, badei machtin, it means like a type of stick that you put on the needles. My correlate badi, why is it called badi? Because dover the tolu beimidi is something that you hang on it, something correlate badi. Bad correlate, it's called a bad, and therefore badei machtin, it's something they hang the needles on. Awesome, like it says, the gabe arba saminim. Ale echod, if there's one leaf left, bad echod in a branch, so we could see bad as a branch, as a stick. Rab Shimon ben Elazar says another din, a matzi min Aryeh, someone who saves something that the lion took, min a doiv from the bear, min a nomer, min a bardelas, all different types of dangerous animals, min zuto shel yom, when the sea overflows, or the river overflows, and a moitzi besarti or plati gdoila in a place, in a main square in town, v'chol makom sharabim mitzuim, where there's lots of people, Aryeh sheloi, you don't need to be machriz, even dover sheyesh by simin. Why? Because the owner will be misyash because there's so many people, or you can't save it from the lion. Says the Gemara, a shaila. So, Rab Shimon ben Elazar. When Rab Shimon ben Elazar said over here that if you find a mציעא, even though there has a simin, you have to be machriz. Sorry, it's Aryeh sheloi because you found it in a place where there's lots of people. Did he speak B'roiv Knanim, where it's mostly goyim, aval B'roiv Yisrael loy? Or did he speak only by Roiv Knanim, or also where there's Roiv Yisrael, the din is Aryeh sheloi if you're Rab Shimon ben Elazar? That's shaila number 1. Nami Omar. Shaila number 2, intim tzoloi ma'afilu B'roiv Yisrael, Nami Omar. Lefi, if let's take on that even B'roiv Yisrael, if it's a place where lots of people are, even Dover Shes Besimin, Aryeh sheloi, pligi Rabbanon or loy pligi. Do Rabbanon argue on him, or do Rabbanon not argue? If you want to tell me that they do argue, B'roiv Yisrael vade pligi, if they choylek for sure, the choylek B'roiv Yisrael, because that's more of a chiddush. B'roiv Knanim pligi or loy pligi, maybe by B'roiv Knanim, Rabbanon be moide, though we go after Roiv, and he could assume they fell from a goy, and therefore it's Aryeh sheloi. If you want to tell me that there's a full-on machloikis, Rab Shimon ben Elazar holds even B'roiv Yisrael it's mutter, and Rabbanon hold even B'roiv Knanim it's also aloch kemoise and aloch kemoise. Is alocha like Rab Shimon ben Elazar, or alocha like Chachamim? If you want to say that alocha is like him, dafka B'roiv Knanim or B'roiv Yisrael, only on the little chiddush, we assuming he says B'roiv Knanim, or also in the big chiddush that B'roiv Yisrael afilu ochi Aryeh sheloi. Toshma kama listen, amoitze mois beboti knisio, so boti midrasha, someone who finds money in a shul or in a base medrash, v'chol makom sharabim mitzuim shom, any place where there's lots of people, Aryeh sheloi. Why? Says the Gemara, man shamas leidol sal basaru, but who do we know that says where there's lots of people, it's Aryeh l'shaloi, Rab Shimon ben Elazar, shmas min afilu b'roiv Yisrael, because it says shuls and bottom midrashas, that's places where Jews are, nami, you could see, so l'chor we could push it, that Rab Shimon ben Elazar said this chiddush, not only b'roiv Knanim, also b'roiv Yisrael. So the Gemara, b'mayaskin and b'mfruzarin, here the coins are talking about that there's no simin. We're discussing Rab Shimon ben Elazar's chiddush whether the simin. Here it's talking about there's no simin, it's scattered. So the Gemara, even b'mfruzarin, Mariya, mokim sharabi mitzuim sham, even if it's not a big public place, if there's no simin, it's a Aryeh l'shaloi. What does it depend on Rabbi mitzuim sham? So the Gemara, ela lo ilam b'tzurim, really it's talking about whether there's a simin. V'ochem and b'boti knesiyah shel Knanim, it's talking about church, it's not talking about shul. So the Gemara, bottom midrashas Michael Meima, base medrash, there's no such a thing, a base medrash for goyim. So the Gemara, bottom midrashas, they don't, they also be Knanim. It's talking about base medrash, a Jewish base medrash, but they have gods who are Knanim, so we could assume it fell from them. So the Gemara, Asher Dausos Leochi, now that you came to this teretz, boti knisiyos nami, you could say it's the same teretz, they don't, they also be Knanim. It's a shul, not church, and it's talking about whether people who are God the shul or Knanim. Toshma, come and listen and bring your Aryeh. Motza bo Aveda, if you found the Aveda im roiv Yisrael chayv lachris. Im roiv Knanim einu chayv lachris. Man shomas leidoma az nena basaruba. Who do we know that says you go basaroiv? Rab Shimon ben Elazar. Shma smino, ki kama Rab Shimon ben Elazar b'roiv Knanim over Yisrael loi. It says clearly in this brisa, dafka b'roiv Knanim, not b'roiv Yisrael. So we could see the whole chiddush of Shimon ben Elazar, because this is Rab Shimon ben Elazar's only said where it's roiv Knanim. Says the Gemara, how many Rabbanon he know? I'll tell you, this is Rabbanon, really. Rab Shimon ben Elazar said this chiddush also b'roiv Knanim, b'roiv Yisrael. But this brisa where it says dafka roiv Knanim is Rabbanon. Says the Gemara, okay. So tifshet minot demoidu Rabbanon Rab Shimon ben Elazar b'roiv Knanim. At least we have a raya. One of the shayla is a different shayla we asked. Do Rabbanon agree or not? And we could see that b'roiv Knanim they agree to Rab Shimon ben Elazar. So the Gemara, elo lo ilam Rab Shimon ben Elazar. You really, let's say it is Rab Shimon ben Elazar. Let's have a raya that he doesn't hold his chiddush b'roiv Yisrael. No, afilu b'roiv Yisrael nami. Even b'roiv Yisrael Aryeh l'shaloi. Here we're talking about where it's covered, and therefore if it's covered, so if it's b'roiv Yisrael, yichayv la'achris because he hid it there. He's no misyash. Says the Gemara, if it's Tomon, why are you touching it? We learned in the Mishnah, if you found in a keli, in a place where the trash is, if it's uncovered, you should be machriz, it's aveda, but if it's covered, it's hidden over there. So why here, if you found it Tomon, why are you being machriz? So the Gemara could Omar Papa, like our Papa said about something else, we could say the same thing. What did he say? It's about a place where the garbage is normally left there for a long time. And then they change their mind and they're going to clear it out. Ochenami is also over here, it's talking about such a case. And therefore, if it's Roiv Yisrael, so you assume it comes from Yisrael, and the reason why you take it, because now it's going to be tossed away, then we found it, and it's not considered Aveda because the guy never knew. The guy thought that this trash is going to stay there for a long time, and that's why Yichayv Lachris. But Enochanami, if it was lost, if it wasn't Tomun, Enochanami, maybe Rab Shimon and Elazar holds, even B'roiv Yisrael, Aryeh l'shaloi. Says the Gemara another teretz, Chavdala Domon Beis. V'yibo Yisayim Eloilam Rabbanon. Really, I'll tell you that this price is a Rabbanon. All the we could see so Rabbanon Umoide B'roiv Knanim. Miktoni and Shaloi. Does it say in the brisa b'roiv Knanim it's yours? It says that you don't have to announce it because it's roiv Knanim. You should leave it by you. And when Yisrael comes and gives a siman, if he comes to you and gives you a siman, you have to give it back. But it's not Aryeh l'shaloi, so we don't have a raya. The Rabbanon agree that b'roiv Knanim Aryeh l'shaloi. Maybe most you could bring a raya is that Rabbanon will hold that you don't have to be machriz, but shaloi we don't see that. Toshma, bring you another ayah. The Omar Ravasi said, "Motzochavis yain b'Yerusha b'Knanim." You found a barrel of wine in a city where it's mostly non-Jewish people. Muteres mishum mציעא because roiv Knanim. V'asur ba'no because it's yain nesach. We assume it's a goy. Boys Shov and also Bosimin came a Jewish person and said, "Oh, I'll give you a simon in it. Muteres b'shtia, because now we know we belong to a Jew. It's no yain nesech. Lemoitza, the one who found it, because he doesn't have to give it back to that person because he was mifyash. It's roiv knanim. Keman, who is this going to? Like lechorek Reb Shimon Elazar, who holds you go after roiv. Shmas mino kikom Reb Shimon Elazar b'roiv knanim, aval b'roiv Yisrael loy, because if over here it says dafka b'roiv knanim, but b'roiv Yisrael Reb Shimon Elazar never said this chiddush. Said the Gemara, no. Loy lo meim lechor Reb Shimon Elazar after b'roiv Yisrael nami koma. Really, Reb Shimon Elazar even holds b'roiv Yisrael the din of the reilu shaloi. Rav Asi in this brisa, he holds like him that B'roiv Knanim, yes, but B'roiv Yisrael doesn't hold like him. But Reb Shimon Elazar himself, even B'roiv Yisrael holds Aryeh Shaloi. That's a Gemara, a stammer cash on this brisa of Rav Asi. If you said it's also ba'ano, muteres mishum mציעא lemay ilchasa. Why is okay? It's also ba'ano mishum yain nesech. So why is it as a mציעא? It says it's muteres mishum mציעא. What will I do with it? I can't use it. It's also ba'ano. I can't have any joy from this wine. So the Gemara Maravash can kano that you could use a barrel because a barrel doesn't become asa. Pour out the wine and use a barrel. Au Gavra, that man dashkach arba zuzi de tzaydi bestina. He found 4 zuz that was tied in a cloth. The shodu benar biron was thrown in the river called Biron. Also, Rav Yehuda told him, you have to be machris, you have to announce that you found something and try to find the owner. As the Gemara of we learned that if something the river, the ocean took, it's mutter even if it has a simon. So very good, it has a simon, but it's in the river. So the Gemara, shiny nar biron is different. Since it has type of dams in it to stop the fish and catch it, he won't be misiyash because he says they're going to find it afterwards. Because they would clean it once in a while and change the river to flow a different way and then it dry up certain areas. So he says, oh, there's dams, it's not going to go far. And then when they're going to dry up the river, we'll find it. As the Gemara Varubu Knanim Nunu, Blecheret Roiv Goyim Lecher, we should say the din should be Aryeh Shaloi. Shema Mineo Lecher, we could see in Aloch Reb Shimon Elazar Fiber Knanim, that Loch is not like him. So the Gemara, shiny nar biron's different. V'Yisrael Sachule, V'Yisrael Korle, Kevin V'Yisrael Sachule, Emer V'Yisrael Nofal, but Kevin V'Yisrael Korle, Loi Miyash. Meaning, very good in the areas of Mov Knanim, but the ones who deal with the river, the ones who put the dams and then clean the river and make the river go a different way and deal with all the work in the river, they are mostly Jewish workers. So therefore, the guy who lost it, Lechore, comes from a Jew because he was working on it, and he's not Messiah because it says who's going to find it? A Jew who's going to clean up the river. So therefore, you have to be machlos, and it's not like Zutah Shel Yom, and it's not Roiv Knani. Rav Yehuda, have a shokil v'ozi basrei de Marshmuel the shuka b'de Beidaisa. Rav Yehuda was going after Marshmuel in the market of Beidaisa, where they sell wheat for porridge. Omale motza kan arne kima. What if you find a wallet over here? What's it in? Armale Aryeh Shaloi. It's yours. Boy Yisro v'nosan boy simin. If what happened then was a mokim shirabim between. He asked him what's the din if it comes a Jew and gives a simin in it. Armale chayav lachos. You have to give lachos. You have to give it back. So he asked him tarti. It's a contradiction. If it's mine, why do I have to give it back if Yisrael comes? Omalei lifnim mishur sadin. Really make a din, you can keep it, but lifnim mishur sadin, you have to give it back. Shmuel, like the father of Shmuel. Ashkach anechamru b'midbar. He found these donkeys in the desert. V'adrinu l'merai, and he gave it back to the owners. Lebosa tresi acheshata lifnim mishur sadin. He gave it back to the owner, even though the 12 months passed since the person lost it, and he was misiyash. So therefore, he doesn't need to give it back, but he still gave it back to the owner. We could see that the din to give it back, even if the person was siyash, you think mishur sadin. Tosi asked the cash on this pshat that I explained of Rashi that 12 months after he lost it, he has a different pshat, Ein Shom. Rav Ava Shokil v'oz the Basra de Rav Nachman b'shuka de Gildoi. Ve'amrlo b'shuka de Rabbonon. Rava was going behind Rav Nachman in the market of the leather makers, and some people say the market of the Rabbonon, where they buy the fracks. If I find the wallet over here, what's it in? It's yours. What happens if a Jewish person comes and says, oh, I lost it and this is a simin? Aryeh, he still could keep it. He didn't say that Lifnei Mishrosa didn't like we learned before. So he said, he's standing and screaming, this is mine, give it to me back. So the Gemara like someone screams when his house collapses or his boat sinks into the sea. He screams. Does it help? It doesn't help. So also here it's lost. And therefore, he doesn't get it back even though that he's screaming. This type of bird, a big bird, the Shokil Basra Bashuka, took a piece of meat in the market, he threw it in the palm trees, the Bay Barmarian, and a person called Barmarian, he came in front of Abaye with the piece of meat, can I keep it or not? Take it, it's yours. This market was Roiv Yisrael. Shmas Mino, we could see from here, because like because Rabbi Mitzuyim it's muta. So the Gemara shiny dayo kizutu shel yom domi. When this bird takes it, it's like the ocean taking it. Even if it has a simin, even Roiv Yisrael, Aryeh shaloi. So that's why he could keep it. The Gemara ra bosa shel isalim min ayin also. With the din meat that you haven't seen for a bit, it's also. So how could we hear l'chur it's bosa shenisalim ma'ayin? So the Gemara ba'omed v'reu, he sees a bird landing, picking up from the meat store and flying off, and therefore he saw all the time that it's the same piece of meat from the kosher meat store, and therefore we know choishesh for bosa shenisalim ma'ayin because it wasn't nisalim ma'ayin. Rab Chanina Motzeg Gdi, he found a goat shochut slaughtered between the places called Tveria and Tzipori, and they said you could take it, it's muta. Omar of Ami, Tiruloi Mishum Mציעא, the reason Mishum Mציעא they matter it why Reb Shimon and Lova, that we go after Roiv, Rabbi Mitzuyim it's muta, and Mishum Shchita, all maybe it's treifa. No, Rab Chananya b'noi Shor Rabbi Yosef Glili. The Tanya that we learned, a Reisha of the Loigdio of a Tarnagoyla, if someone lost his goats and his chickens, v'olach, u'motzoi shchutim, and he finds them slaughtered, shechted. Rabbi Yudah says it's also. Rabbi Chanina b'noi Shor Rabbi Yosef Glili Mati says it's muta, and he could go after Roiv and he could say this meat is muta, and it was a good shchita. So over here also, the umate mishum mציעא like Rav Shimon Loza, and mishum shchita that's a kosh shchita like Rabbi Yosef. Like Rabbi Chanina b'noi Shor Rabbi Yosef Glili. Omar Rebbe, near in the Rabbi Yudah, they said that it's also Kshemotzim Ba'ashpo, when he found your goats in the bin, so probably the person threw away because it's strafe. The Diva Rabbi Chanina b'noi Shor Rabbi Yosef Glili, Kshemotzim Ba'bayis, where he found it in a place that's guarded, and therefore the person probably did a good shchita. So on the Chor over here, where he found it between Tveria and Tzipori, was in a guarded place. Said the Gemara, midi tirulu mishum shchita, since they were matim mishum shchita, all maybe a goy shechted it. It must be Roiv Yisrael ninu. It must be Roiv Yisrael over there. Shmas, we see from here Lochker b'Shimon and Loza that b'mokim sharabi mitzuyim it's muta afilu b'Roiv Yisrael, and we could see he said this chiddush even in the more extreme case. Omarova no Roiv Knani v'Roiv Tapoch Yisrael. Really, most of the people around the area were goyim, and therefore mishum mציעא it's muta. Or how are they muta mishum shchita? How could we assume that was a good shchita? Because most of the people who shecht, they are Jewish, and therefore legabe shchita you could go after Roiv Yisrael, and legabe the one who lost it you could go after that fell from a goy. Rav Ami Ashkech Pargias Shchutos ben Tveria Tzipori. He found baby chickens shechted between Tveria and Tzipori. Also lekameda Rasi. And so he came in front of Rav Asi. Some people say he came in front of Rabbi Yochanan. But Amrulei Bimi Joshua that he came to Beis HaMedrash to ask what's the din. Take it for yourself. Rabbi Tzchok Nafcha Ashkach Kibura de Azli Boazule. Some type of thread that they'd use to make traps for the fish. Also, like Rabbi Yochanan, it was a mokum sharabi mitzuyim. He came in front of Rabbi Yochanan. V'amlo bebeis midrash. He came to Beis Medrash for Amalei, and they told him shkoile nafshach. You could take it for yourself because it's a mokum sharabim mitzuyim sham shkoyach.